Hi there. So I put on my last vlog that I would do a question and answers. I've had some questions in, and so true to my word, I shall crack on and answer them. I'll refer to my notes because there's no way I can remember them all. I've got 10 questions and I'm going to start with number one, as you do. So tips from my road trip, things I would have done, wish I'd had, or would have done differently. Now, I've really racked my brains on this one, and there's not a great deal. Things I wish I had would be a roof. I've got a roof fan, but it's a really noisy one, and it would have been great to have had a lovely quiet one, because when it was really hot, it would have been really good to, that would have helped with the keeping me a bit cooler. So that, and the other thing I wish I had was a windscreen mounted phone holder, so that I could have done more footage of me driving on the other side of the road, in roundabouts, up the over the Pyrenees with all the mountain tracks, to give people a better idea of what it's like to drive abroad, because a lot of people say, oh, I don't think I could drive on the other side of the road, oh, I'm not sure. And I just thought that would have been really good to for them to see and think, oh, actually, or on some of the mountain passes, maybe, holy, I wouldn't fancy that. So yeah, so that's the only things I can think of, really. I don't think I'd have done anything differently. I didn't really plan a route. I just tend to look at a map and sort of roughly say, oh, I'm going to go along here, down the coast, and then back up the other side. I suppose perhaps spending a little more time finding places of interest, because there's nothing worse than when you've gone past an area and you think, oh no, I didn't realise that was there. Or sometimes when I post my updates on various Facebook pages, somebody will comment and say, oh, you must go and visit this. By then it's too late, I've gone past the area, so I'm like, blow. But what I've started doing there on my maps is I've started dropping stars on the places that have been recommended to me that I've missed or want to go to on another trip, so that hopefully when I'm in the area I'll say, oh, what's that star? So other than that, no, not really. Question two. If I can manage to read my own writing. Oh, any problems travelling as a lone female? In answer to that, no. One thing somebody told me once that has stuck with me is that once you're in your van, like on a night time or you're parked anywhere, just remember, nobody knows who's in that van. So they won't know whether it's a bloke on their own, whether it's a couple, whether it's a family, whether it's a female on their own. And that's really helped me. I'm obviously careful. I've got some extra security, etc. on the van, which I'll go into because that covers the next question. And I'm just careful and vigilant as I can be, I do I do a trick with my seat belts, which I'll cover in the security question. But I'm just careful when I park up, if I pull up somewhere and it feels a bit dodgy, or, there's blokes hanging around in a car or something like that look a bit, then I just wouldn't stop there. It's just not worth it, really. Some people say, they feel safety in numbers. So I've seen reviews on the app I use, which is Park for Night, saying, oh, there were no other vans there, we didn't feel safe, so we left. But to me, when I very first started, I was apprehensive, of course, and if I heard a noise I would be peeking out the window, what's going on, but that passes and you get used to it, and I'm just as careful as I can be, really. I can't think of anything else to say on that point. Just be sensible. If you're not happy where you are, move on to somewhere else. But yeah, when I started off, I used to go to places that were busy, etc. But then when you think about it, my thoughts, this is, when you're in a busy place, there's lots and lots of people around. So the odds against possibly something happening, or, you having a bit of trouble, are obviously higher than if you're up a mountain, you're miles from anybody, and you might get 6 cars passing in the night. To me, that reduces the odds, and now I love the remote park-ups. It's fantastic. So yeah, fingers crossed, long may it continue, no problems. Number 3, security. Here we go. So I try, there's a lot more I could do. Obviously, you've got to bear in mind it all costs money, etc. But I've done what I can do. So I'll start at the front of the van. I have a steering lock, and I also have a pedal stroke clutch lock. Now, I know I see often people commenting saying, oh, they'll get in if they want to. They'll, you know, yeah, they will. But hopefully, if I'm in the van, well, I don't have it on when I'm in the van in case I need to drive away quickly. But when I'm not in the van, you know, possibly, you know, it'll take them longer to break in. Somebody may see them, scare them off, or I may come back in time, or the alarm might be going off and, you know, they disappear. But for me, it's a visual deterrent. So that's what I do. Also, moving back a bit, I do a little trick with the seatbelt. So I pull the seatbelt out. I put it through the handle, the plastic moulded handle of the door. Not the little handle you pull, the whole plastic moulded bit. I don't know if I'm able to show you in a minute. And then I clip it shut. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it with one hand. So the seat belt is come out, it's gone through the door, and it's then locked shut, which means when somebody tries to open the door, it won't open. They might get an inch. And I always do that at night, because again, yes, they could, you know, open it an inch, get a knife in, cut the seat belt, etc. But hopefully by then I'll have woken up and had a word with them. So that's what I do there. And also what I always do is keep it like that on my passenger side. So then for me, when I'm unlocking the van and getting in, nobody can grab the passenger door and jump in the other side. So I always do that. So hopefully that's a tip. I also, on all doors, have an extra alarm system that I just got off the internet, and they're battery operated, and you just they work by a magnet. So one half is on the door, one half is on the pillar of the door, we'll call it. You turn them on, and then if that door gets opened, it's a piercing alarm sound that would hopefully scare them off. If it didn't scare them off, it would wake me. So I have that on all doors, as I say, 2 front doors, side door, rear door. Moving along, I'm just trying to think. I then, on the rear door, have a lock that I got off the internet, and it's like, I don't know the right wording, it's like a circular thing with a linchpin. I'm not going to actually show you where these locks are, etc, etc, just to be cautious and safe, because if I give all my intimate security details away, that and somebody spotted me on the road and wanted to break in, that would make things easier for them. But just to say, on my rear doors, it's like do they call them a linchpin? So it's a really sturdy 2 parts, 1 on each door, and then you drop the pin down and it locks the 2 doors together. So if somebody was to try and open the rear doors, again, that would deter them. And finally, I also have, going across my sliding door, I have a bar that fits into the moulded grip that's fitted on the door underneath the handle on my door, which is a Citroen Relay Enterprise 2015, and I slide it in there, and it's butted up against the fitted cupboard. So if that door, you know, if the locks were breached, they won't be able to slide them open. So security wise, I think I've done pretty well. I would love to have a better alarm system fitted. I would love to have Wi-Fi, CCTV, but then you need Wi-Fi with that, etc, etc, so things get a bit complicated. I'm not very technical. And I'd also love to have some outside lighting. I know a lady who I became friendly with who's a van lifer, and if she hears a noise, she's got a switch next to her bed, she can flick it on, it illuminates all around the van, and she can see who's out there and what's going on, which I think is fantastic. And the more I'm chatting now about it, it's something I really ought to get sorted. So yeah, hopefully that's helped. Let's look at the next question. I mentioned a backup phone in one of my videos, and somebody said, can you give me a bit more information on that, you know, about apps, contact, how they're synced. So for me, I'm with EE, and my main phone is, so I obviously have all my apps, contacts, etc on there. And then I have a backup phone, which is also with EE, but on a minimal contract. So I think it costs £8 or £9 a month, something like that. But you don't get much data. However, with EE, I can gift data. So I've got a massive amount on my main contract. So all I do each month is gift it across, and then I've got plenty of data on that one. What I did when I went abroad was my main contract includes roaming abroad. My other phone didn't, and it was going to cost, I think, somewhere along the lines of 50 quid a month. It's gone up massively with EE, because not last year, the year before, when I went away, it was a tenner a month for your phones. So a bit of a difference there. So all I did there was I turned off my roaming on my my second phone that I use as a sat nav only, really, and I hotspotted from my main phone. So my second phone was running off my main phone, which was free, which meant both were free. So that worked out fantastically. I have all my contacts in my second phone as well, because obviously it's no good having a second phone if you lose your first one, if you've not got your contacts in there. So I've got that. I've got my Park for Night, my search for sites, and a few apps just to like What 3 Words, obviously Google Maps, so that I can navigate around and I can contact whoever I need to contact. So that really works well for me, and it's a godsend. And the reason I went for the second phone as a sat nav was because I love taking photos, and I was forever stopping, having to turn the sat nav off, swap excuse me, having to turn off the sat nav, go into camera, take a photo, go back into maps, and I thought, oh, this is doing my head in. So second phone. And also I think it's a great idea in case your first phone gets broken, stolen, whatever. Ideally, I suppose, possibly it'd be a good idea to have a second phone on with a different provider. Then maybe if you didn't have coverage in an area, you may get coverage on the other phone. Although in all honesty, with EE, I've got to say probably 95% of the places I go to or have been to, there's been coverage. So for me, that works. Where are we now? Breakdown recovery. Who am I with? Have I had, what's my experience been with them? So I did a little search around and I decided to go with Green Flag. I'm covered for breakdown in the UK and Europe. I only ever had to use them once, and that was when I'd gone up the Quantock Hills ready to go on a group hike the next day, and I thought, me being clever, I'll stop overnight, won't have to get up as early, I can take my time in the morning and I'll be ready for the hike. So I got up there, parked, and there was another car parked there. So I parked, I was on a slant, and I thought when that car goes, I'll get flat, I'll be all right for the night. So the car went around just as it was getting dusk, and I went to start my van to move it. Absolutely dead. Nothing whatsoever. Oh, it's like, you're joking. So again, you check a few times. Oh, what's going on? Absolutely nothing whatsoever. So I thought, right, and I looked at the time, and I think it was in winter, and it must have been 4:30 by now. It was near enough dark, and I thought, if I ring the breakdown, where are they going to take me? Garage is going to be shut, blah de blah de blah. So I let my handbrake off, rolled into the flat spot, handbrake on, and did the only sensible thing I could think of, which was to shut the curtains and open a bottle of wine. So I drank the bottle of wine and thought, I'll sort it out in the morning. Morning came and I opened the curtains and had a bit of a shock, because there was about 4 inches of snow. The whole place, obviously, it snowed. I was at the top of the Quantock Hills in Somerset, and I was like, oh no. Then I thought, there was nobody about. Brilliant. So I got out and I got some cracking photos of the van in the snow and nobody else there at all. So then I rang the Green Flag and they said, yep, no problem, we'll send out the recovery. By now, families had started arriving with kids and sledges and blah, blah, blah. And it was really quite chaotic, but quite entertaining to watch. My van is absolutely rubbish in the snow. So when they called me back about an hour later and said, the van can't get through to you, we're having to send a 4x4, I did flap a bit. However, the chap eventually got through, got to my van and had a fiddle around, and it turned out to be a loose earth. It corroded. So he said, I've got you started, whatever you do, don't stall it. no pressure there. So I had a 3 hour-ish drive to get back to what was my local garage in the Midlands, and I was sweating a bit thinking, oh God, I hope I don't stall her, which I don't generally ever do, but I had twice the month before for some unknown reason. It might have been I had a new clutch, I can't remember. Anyhow, so my experience, that was a bit of a waffle, wasn't it? My experience was that they came out, I wasn't waiting for hours and hours, they sorted out the issue and sent me on my way. So for me, so far, I can't fault green flag. And for me, I found the price very competitive as well. So where are we now? How did I cope in the heat when I was abroad? Well, I sweated. So I don't have, there is air conditioning in the cab, but I don't think it's working, and it wouldn't really help. I'd have to have the engine running, etc. I did all I could, which was on the side here, I've got sliding windows. I put some mesh over them to stop the insects, and hopefully this, sorry to interrupt myself. The camera wobbles when I move in this van. It's on a stand, so I'm trying to keep still. Yeah, put mesh over the windows, open those fully. I've got a fan at the back, the roof vent, open that. And of course, if depending on the time of day and if there are any insects around, I can have the side door open, which makes a great difference. When the side door's got to be shut, that's a different kettle of fish. So I have a 4-inch USB plug-in fan, which I used, and that, I know it's only sort of shoving the air around, but it really made a difference. And I would plug it in, use it, leave it on the whole night, just, you know, about a foot from my bed on me, and it really made a difference. So there was only one night I recall that it was really hot, and that was sort of, you know, from 6 till maybe 9, 10 at night until it started to cool. So yeah, without the fan, it would have been really difficult. And the highest temperature it's got to in the van was 39.5 degrees, I believe. So I also use a silver screen on the inside during the day, one of those sunscreens that I put in the front to try, because it gets like an oven otherwise, to try and keep the sun off it and keep it a little bit cooler. It is really well insulated, so I think it keeps cooler than one that isn't as insulated in the summer, and in the winter I think it keeps it warmer. That's my, whether I, you know, it's in my mind, but I do think that's what happens. So that's how I coped with the heat, really. And obviously I've got long hair, so I'd tie it up in a bun, keep it off my neck, because that was cooler. And yeah, not wear a lot in the van, to be fair. So that's how I did that. What's next? How did I cope with the mosquitoes? Well, I had a fair few bites, I got to be honest. I did all I could do, which is, as I've mentioned, I put mesh, a fine mesh. I did have a mesh that was, still need to sort this out. Fitted really nice, and it's, I just bought it from a shop. I think it was about 6 or 7 quid. For DIY things in the home, etc. And you get a thin piece of Velcro, so that's all around the window. Cut the mesh to size, and it literally sticks on the Velcro. It's fantastic. However, I realised it wasn't fine enough for the tinsy wincy little mosquitoes, so I got some ordered online that they tell you what the size of the mesh, and it's so fine you can barely see it on the windows. But and it's good for Scottish midges, blah blah. So I swapped what I did have for the even finer mesh, but because it's so fine, it's not sticking quite as well to the Velcro, and where it's cut, it's tending to, just looking at it now, fray a little bit. So I like things right, so I need to sort that. I'm thinking on that. And I also did that on the ceiling fan vent as well. So I also bought a spray that you can spray, and I'd spray it near the doorway. I would wear the wrist things. I would put some midge repellent on me as well. But sometimes, and even more annoying, sometimes wasn't the midges, it was the flies, you know, like the house flies. What is it with them? They'll come in the van, they're flying around everywhere, and they constantly keep landing on you. So I got a fly squat, and I don't like to kill things, but hey ho, in this instance you've got to. and a fly swatt works a treat, and I'll go around and get rid of them all. And a little tip with the midges I found, they're very clever. They hide somewhere and wait until you're in bed and they come out and bite you. I've got a very strong torch, which I can just get my hands on here, if I can get it out. One of these that you can hang up, etc. Really strong. And what I do on a night is I'll go along all the ceiling and all the crevices with this torch, and you can pick out the mosquitoes, and sad for them, but hey ho, I'll kill them. So that is the extent of my insect repellency. Hope that helps. What are we on now? How do I cope with van life? Am I single? I don't find I cope with van life. It's a chosen lifestyle for me, and I think it's fantastic. Hand on heart, it's the best decision I ever made in my life, and that's the truth. So I don't find coping difficult. I'm not quite sure what they mean by that, whether they mean mentally, physically. I'm fine in my own company. I'm the single part. Yes, I travel solo in my van, not with anybody else. And it's not a problem. If I do feel a little bit lonely, and everybody does from time to time, I'll get on my phone, I'll scroll on Facebook, I'll do a post, I'll do a YouTube blog, I'll just do something to occupy myself. I do have a TV in the van. I haven't had that on, I must be getting towards a year, because I'm trying to use I got sick to death of all the doom and gloom on there, and I try and use my time productively. So I will think of places where I can try and advertise for new YouTube subscribers, or get the word out to people about places to visit, stuff to do, things to do with van life, so that I feel I'm not wasting my time, you know, watching soaps or anything like that. I've kept the TV in the van because I have got some DVDs, old fashioned I know, but I can't work the USB things with films on. And should I, let's say, get snowed in somewhere, or the van's broken down for some days, or I'm ill, which has happened in the past, I can stick a DVD on if there's no TV reception and watch a film to pass a bit of time. So I do still have that. But yeah, I don't find I'm coping with it. I'm thoroughly embracing it. Things like in the winter, you get condensation on the windows. I hate that. So I just bought a Karcher window vac, and in the morning, a couple of minutes, all the windows are done. That's fine. Of course, you've got the toilet situation. You know, you've got to find somewhere to empty your toilet and that. Yeah, that's a bit of a pain. But God, really, you know, it's tiny things when you think of all the positives of van life and all the wonderful places you visit and the freedom. So yeah, I'm coping very well. Next question, we're on question number 9. If you're still awake, are you still there? Where am I? Am I full-time van life? Do I have a house? I am full-time. I have been since October 21. So that answers that. Do I have a house? No, I don't. And the main reason for that is obviously affordability as well, but I have a pet sitting business, so I look after people's pets in their own home. So I'm either in somebody's house working, looking after their pets, or when I'm not working, I want to be in my van and travelling. So if I had a house, I would never ever be there. It would just be dead money. So I suppose I could buy one and rent it out, and I've had rental properties in the past, and it can be a real pain. And for me, I'd rather not have that money tied up and have it as a backup for whatever life may throw at me, really. So hopefully that answers that question for you. And finally, question number 10. I don't think I've missed any. I hope I haven't. If there were no restrictions in Europe, would I stay longer? Absolutely, I would. Depending on my work commitments, of course, because I do still need to work to pay and fund my lifestyle. For me, I could literally probably work 12 months a year with the pet sitting, because I'm quite in demand, so to speak. But I've scaled down. I try not to work more than maybe 5 months a year, maybe 6 at a push, because for me, it's more about, obviously I'm losing money by not working, but it's about the life experience, really. And I want a good work-life balance. It would be fantastic if I won the lottery and didn't have to work at all. What a joy that would be. But I do. So yeah, that's why I can't. Obviously, there's the 90-day restriction at the moment, but if I didn't, it would depend upon my work, so to speak. And my work isn't like 6 months I work, 6 months I'm off. It will be that I maybe work 2 or 3 weeks. I'm just doing a month straight now of 3 different sits, so no travelling for me. But then I might be off 2 weeks, I might be off a month, I might be off 2 months, I might be off 2.5 months, but it's scattered throughout the year. So yeah, it would be wonderful to have absolutely no time restrictions whatsoever and just meander from country to country. Just, oh, must be fantastic. So hopefully that answers all your questions for you. I hope I've given a better insight into stuff, and I will carry on working through my list of van lifey stuff, tips, etc. for, you know, even for seasoned van lifers. You can pick up something. I'm always looking at other people's channels to get tips, and maybe look at ideas to change things in the van, etc. or storage tips. I'm always getting my words back to front. Storage tips, I nearly said them. Anyway, that's me for now. Obviously, once I get back on the road again, there will be road trips, and I hope you carry on enjoying. Thanks for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, why on earth haven't you? And if you would, click the button below. That would be fantastic. If you turn on the little notifications next to that button, you'll get notified when I post something new. And if you'd like to like or comment, that'd be fantastic. It's all to do with algorithms, and it keeps, you know, keeps people seeing you. And if you'd like to share anything with people that you think, or on your own channel that you think they would benefit, then please do. Thanks ever so much for watching. Bye. Guess what? As I always seem to do, I remember something at the end. So I read through the questions again, and there's one I missed. So fear not, we're on to question 11. Or is it 10, because I jumped one? Anyway, the question was, which is better, coffee or pot? Now, I'm not quite sure how to interpret that question. I'm not sure if the person means which is better, instant coffee or a pot of coffee, or whether they are saying which is better, coffee or pot, as in weed. So my answer to this is, I don't drink tea or coffee at all, and I don't smoke anything. So I can't answer that question at all. So no help there. But yes, I didn't want to miss it out. Didn't want to miss anybody out. So this time I really am going. Bye.